Hi, it's attorney Ashley Goggins, and we are at day 8 of the 12 days of free game. I am a family law attorney here in Jacksonville, Florida, and I am helping you navigate through the family law case, whether that be a divorce case, paternity, time sharing, or custody, if you still want to use that term. But we are on day 8. We have 4 days left of navigating through this family law process, and today we're going to be talking about social investigations. All about social investigations when parents cannot agree on a parenting plan, or they cannot agree on time sharing aspects, or they can't agree on something that is at issue regarding the child. Generally, they're going to have a social investigation. A social investigation, the number one thing that the social investigator does is they help the court come up with the appropriate parenting plan that is in the best interest of the child. So, what is a parenting plan? So, a parenting plan is basically a document that's going to outline how the parents are going to parent the child or children. What are they going to do regarding health? What are they going to do regarding education, or anything unique to the child? Additionally, and one of the biggest aspects of a parenting plan is going to be that time sharing schedule. When am I going to get to spend time with my child? Am I going to have the child on Mondays and Tuesdays? Are you going to have the child on Wednesdays and Thursdays? Are we going to do week on, week off? Are we going to do every other weekend? What are we going to do about the holidays? So that is what a parenting plan or a time sharing schedule is. So oftentimes, one of the most contested issues in a family law case can be the time sharing schedule or the parenting plan. So if the parties do not agree, the court says, look, I can't investigate. I can't go talk to every character witness. I can't come into the homes and see how the child interacts with one parent. So I am going to appoint a third party that is neutral to investigate both aspects, meaning the mother and the father, and investigate their witnesses, their character references. I'm going to talk to doctors. I'm going to talk to teachers. I'm going to get both sides of the story, as well as from an objective standpoint, meaning I'm going to be unbiased and I'm going to talk to other people from both sides and try to come up with a plan that I feel is in the best interest of the child based on everything that I've seen and everything that I've heard. One of the key things about a social investigation is that the social investigator usually goes into the home. Sometimes during COVID or thereafter, they have done virtual visits where they are able to go into the home virtually or walk around on the laptop and view the home, view the interactions with the child and the other parent. But in general, the social investigators will visit. They'll take pictures of the outside of the home. They'll notice what type of neighborhood the parent lives in. They'll look at their room. They'll sit. They'll talk to the child. If the child is too young, they'll see how the child interacts with the parent, how the child plays with the parent, and then they'll make a recommendation on what they feel is accurate. They will look at police reports, things that usually could not come in as evidence in a family law case usually can be sent over to the social investigator, and those things can be discussed in the social investigation report. So sometimes how social investigations come into play is, one, a social investigator can be appointed by the court at any time. So if you go and the judge is overwhelmed and like, look, this is a lot. You guys have so much going on, and I actually need to get someone else to do it. He can appoint it without there being a motion. On the second, either party can file a motion for a social investigation to have the court appoint a social investigator. So those are the two, or the parties can agree. So the parties can say, look, we need to agree. The two lawyers talk. Hey, I think in this situation, we're not going to be able to settle. Maybe we can settle after there is a social investigation put in place. And that'll get the parties to agree or to come to a settlement. Because usually, once there is a social investigation report, about 95% of the time, you're going to settle because the court is going to weigh heavily on that report. Generally, the court is going to do what the report says it should do because that was the sole purpose of the court ordering the social investigation. Now, the judge has the sole discretion. The judge can do modifications. He can take some things from the report and do other things that he or she may want to do. So they don't have to accept the full report as is. They can modify, they can get creative, they can use it as just guidance, but ultimately the decision is going to be up to the judge if the parties don't settle and don't agree. Now, with a social investigation, it comes with a price, okay? Anytime the parties don't agree or the parties cannot come to a meeting of the minds in family law, it's generally going to cost you a little bit more, if not a lot of bit more. So emotions, dragging a case out, it's going to take some time and it's going to take some money. So how much does this cost? What is this social investigation and how long will it take? How much money will I have to pay? So generally the time frames can vary. The judge will put in his order how long the social investigator has. Sometimes it's 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. I think on average, it's usually somewhere between 90 and 120 days. Sometimes the issues are not that voluminous. The records are not that voluminous. So you don't have to wait a long time to get, documents. Everybody's not submitting all kind of things. So it could take, 60 to 90 days. It really just depends on the unique circumstances of the family. So the cost wise, generally, it starts off at about $2,500, and the court can say that both parties have to split that, or the court can say, I'm going to do it based on pro rata. So that means that they are going to base it based on your income differences. So if you take 100% of the income, but mom is required to pay about 60%, and the dad will have to pay about 40%, or the dad may have to pay 70% because there's a disparity in income. If there's any type of disparity in income, the court can use pro rata. So one party may have to pay 65, the other party would have to do the 35. So it just really depends on either you guys can agree to do half, which is the most common. The parties are going to do half and half. There's one judge in particular that in Duval County that he will do pro rata. So he'll do it based on the income share. Or the court can make one party pay for the entire thing and that be it. Or the judge can say, you pay for it up front since you asked for it, and I don't necessarily see a need for it at the moment. You pay for it up front, and then once the report comes back, then the other party can pay their share or give you half. So it can be creative, okay? But most commonly it's split. It starts at 25. I'll say on the moderate range, 25 to 5,000. On the moderate to high range, from 5,000 to 10,000. You got to think, if the social investigator has to travel, they have to, get a flight, if it's long distance, because a lot of long distance parents have social investigations. If the party's in the military, there could be a myriad of things because it's based on time as well. How much time do they have to invest into the investigation? And you want them to do a complete investigation, but it can be very, very costly. But it can be worth it as well, because I've had situations, and I can count this case. I mean, we litigated for almost 3 years. This social investigation took 6 months. The mom had made some really bad allegations against my client. He always lived with the mom. As soon as he left and they broke up, she made some very bad allegations. She stopped the father from seeing the children. He would call her crazy, and a lot of my clients will call the other party crazy, so it goes over my head. But the social investigator, in the most professional way possible, basically said that she was lying about almost everything that she said. She pretty much was trying to alienate, and I use that term sparingly because it's very hard to prove alienation, but she was literally strategically trying to eliminate the father completely out of the children's lives. He goes from being a full-time parent to absolutely no time, and the mom would tell the kids so many bad things about their father. Luckily, he had such a strong bond with them that when they were finally able to talk to the social investigator, they communicated their side to the story. One of the children was a little younger, but that child was able to interact with the father. So the social investigator saw the children interacting with the father in his home, and it was almost like they were at home. On the other hand, the interaction with the mother and the children and the state of the mother's home, it was cause for concern for the investigators, such that my client was ultimately awarded significant and substantial time sharing. His child support obligation was eliminated. I mean, he got everything and more. Initially, he didn't get any time. He had to go through the Department of Revenue process. I mean, every aspect of a family law case he went through, and they were not even married. And he lost hope. And I will say, he lost hope over and over and over again after being in that battle so long. But I told him, like, look, you are a good father, and your kids will thank you for fighting for them. And ultimately, he was so glad that he continued the case and didn't just give up, because he now has a stronger bond and relationship with his children. And should anything happen, again, he knows he can come back to court because he has a parenting plan in place. And he already went through the social investigation process. She did not want to pay. And a lot of times the other party does not want to pay. They think that the one parent should pay, but it's to the benefit of both parties, which is why the court is normally going to do the equal time sharing. So the court is normally going to do the equal split when it comes to paying for the social investigation. Okay, well, there we have it. Day 8. We have 4 more days to go. I will see you guys tomorrow. And remember, for Friday, I am going to be answering questions, even though I'm going to stay on topic with my topic for Friday. However, if you have questions, because it is technically Free Game Friday on Friday, submit your questions, and all of the questions that I've received, I will be taking a few of those questions and answering them actually on live on Friday. So go to freegamefriday.com. You can submit your questions there, or you can comment. I've been seeing the comments, so you can just put it in the comment if you have a question that you would like for me to discuss, or go to freegamefriday.com. Okay, see you guys tomorrow.